Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Monday morning the 19th of May, and in this video we're going to talk about the latest in the search for 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, who have been missing now since May the 2nd. At least they were reported missing around 10 AM on May the 2nd from their home in Lansdowne Station, Pictou County, Nova Scotia, Canada. A massive search effort was undertaken in the first 6 days of the search. May the 7th, that was called off by the RCMP, being scaled down in favour of other investigative avenues. On May the 8th and May the 9th, the RCMP conducted a bunch of water searches, including Lansdowne Lake, and then that was that. We heard nothing else, apart from rumours, speculation, and the usual stuff that comes out on the internet during these kind of cases. Then, this Friday just gone, it was announced that searchers would be back in the area of Gairloch Road, around the children's home. I was so hopeful. They said they were going to be searching some areas that they had searched before, but they were also going to venture into newer areas. We know from the first search that they covered 5.5 square kilometres, which is 3.4 square miles. That area gives a radius of just over a mile, but they concentrated more on the west. So we've had 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, over 100 searchers being out there, and still nothing. The search has now ended. The search is now over, and we don't know when there's going to be another one. So in this video, let's talk about what happened yesterday. This is the notice from Nova Scotia RCMP. Ground and air search efforts were conducted today, May 18th, in Pictou County, as the missing persons investigation into the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan continues. More than 115 volunteer searchers from Colchester, East Hants, Eastern Shore, Halifax, Valley, Pictou County, Pugwash, Spring Hill, Strait Area, Valley and West Hants Ground Search and Rescue and the Civil Air Search and Rescue Association focused on specific areas around Gairloch Road in an effort to locate Lily and Jack and advance the RCMP investigation. They've got to find them sooner rather than later. I know they think they're deceased. It's not the all hands on deck, all hours of the day and night search when you're hoping and praying that the person or persons missing is still alive. This is very much, according to the RCMP, a recovery effort, but locating them now, at least there's a hope of being able to ascertain the cause and manner of Jack and Lily's deaths. The longer it goes on, it's horrible, but the more decomposition, cause and manner of death becomes almost impossible to establish, depending on how they died. I mean, if there's, injury to the bones, they'll be able to see that, but otherwise, no. A lot of evidence would be lost. The search was supported by Nova Scotia Public Safety Field Communications and EHS Emergency Preparedness Special Operations. This search follows a large-scale air and ground search that began on May 2nd and was scaled back on May 7th in favour of more specific searches. We extend our sincere appreciation to the search and rescue volunteers who have selflessly given up more than 10,000 hours of their time since this search began, says Sergeant Curtis McKinnon, Pictou County District RCMP. Their tireless commitment in truly gruelling conditions is appreciated by both the RCMP and the greater community. This weekend's search will be carefully reviewed and assessed by investigators and search managers to help in planning any further ground and air search efforts. So in planning any further, so it doesn't say there will be more, it just says they're going to assess this to see what they're going to plan next. So is this the last major push? It could well be. That's pretty demoralising. Alright, this is from the Facebook page of Truro and Colchester Code 1 coverage. They are quality, safety-focused coverage of first responders doing their work, creating awareness and education of first responder teams' roles and responsibilities. So they have been shadowing the searchers. They've not been in the search areas, but they've been shadowing the searchers. They're the one that take the photos. As the second search period winds down, we want once again to recognise all those who were boots on the ground and in the air. Tomorrow on this page we will focus on the drone team's contribution over the weekend and how that works, but for now we want to appreciate what today was like. The weather in the area hovered near 8 and 10 degrees C. I'll put the Fahrenheit on screen. For the bulk of the morning, and it felt like it rained or misted all day long. Teams spent long stretches in the woods near the home where Lilly and Jack live, going over that area once again and focused on specific areas around Gairloch Road in an effort to locate Lilly and Jack and advance the RCMP investigation. As searchers came back for a late lunch break, they were wet, cold and fatigued. Warm chilli and soup, as well as sandwiches, were available. The food at this site was plentiful, and hot apple crisp, sounds nice, was very much appreciated by the searchers, as some only took half a break to eat, change into a dry pair of gloves and head back out. Tim Hortons ran out fresh, I assume that means, coffee and treats as well, thanks Jim Shaw. Today seemed to be a little wetter and a lot dirtier, as many searchers came back with pockets and packs full of pine needles and often ticks. The RCMP, as well as Nova Scotia Public Safety Field Communications and EHS Emergency Preparedness Special Operations were working today as well. Thank you to all those who spent their cool, wet Sunday helping others. We appreciate you. In the spirit of this post, we welcome comments on expressions of appreciation for the work done to date. This is the sole purpose of this post. Please refrain from speculation and unfounded theories. So let's have a look through these photos. Got this report from CBC. Ground search for missing Pictou County kids ends for now. That's the search manager, Amy Hansen. The ground search for 2 missing Pictou County siblings ended Sunday, according to an RCMP news release, as we've just read. 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan went missing from their home in Lansdowne Station. The sparsely populated area is about 140 kilometres northeast of Halifax. The initial ground search efforts were called off on May 7th, with ground search and rescue teams only returning to the area on Saturday. We know that 115 searchers took part yesterday, so we've read that. This is new. Interviewed Sunday afternoon, Amy Hansen, one of the search managers, said Saturday's search went very well. She said searchers covered 1.5 square kilometres of area. It's a fairly small area, to be honest. As well as higher probability areas around waterways. I wonder why there's a focus around waterways. High probability areas. But Jack and Lilly drawn to water? A lot of kids are. Hansen said she wasn't aware of anything being found during Saturday's search effort. So we don't know about Sunday's search effort. We're not anticipating continuing tomorrow, but that's a conversation that has to happen with the RCMP incident commander later on in the day. Hansen said hours before the RCMP released their statement. So we know that they're not continuing today. Hansen said the searchers did not cover as much ground as expected Saturday. She said searchers were hampered by fallen trees and branches left by post-tropical storm Fiona, which hit Nova Scotia in September 2022. The ticks are always a problem. We had some fresh bear prints found yesterday. It's Nova Scotia woods at this point. On Saturday, Daniel, the stepdad, told CBC News he was grateful for the search efforts. Just hoping for something positive, a positive outcome that's bringing the kids home. That's the main goal here. It's the main goal, just to find the truth. Let's listen to this little piece here. This is from a couple of days ago, I think.
These woods scoured for a week without a trace of 2 missing kids. About to be examined again. Officials now confirming the search surrounding the home of Lilly and Jack Sullivan will resume Saturday, likely as a recovery effort.
The county as a whole and the province as a whole, I think, need to know what happened in this case.
Police say the 4- and 6-year-olds wandered away 2 weeks ago and said they had no evidence the children were abducted. But RCMP didn't announce the involvement of the Major Crimes Unit until days after it was brought in, nor that it hadn't ruled out that the disappearance was suspicious. RCMP declined an interview request and would not answer our questions about the case. For instance, it isn't clear why investigators are so certain the children were not abducted, and officials have not said whether they know who, other than their family, was last with the kids. Now, after dozens of police interviews and more than 180 tips from the public, still no answers.
It doesn't add up at many levels.
This criminologist questioning the way RCMP are sharing information about the case, relying on the public for tips, but giving few details.
Based on appearances, this went in the wrong direction early on, and key momentum and leads were lost when they were out in the fields looking for kids that maybe were never there.
This expert is zeroing in on other aspects of the disappearance, like school being closed, then the kids being homesick the following day.
The 2 days unaccounted before the missingness is just a red flag.
But for this worried community, what's top of mind now is that the search is resuming, whether for rescue or recovery. Nicola Sagan, CBC News, Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia.
I find it a little bit ironic that they have experts on speculating and then they say, oh, the public can't speculate. You know, we don't want unfounded theories and speculation. But yeah, it's okay for these experts to be interviewed with, oh, this is a red flag and that's a red flag and they went the wrong direction in the search early on. I find it ironic. Anyhow, I am going to speculate a little here. So if you don't like it, then you can always dip out of the video at this point. Look, the kids could easily be in those woods. Very, very difficult conditions. We do know that little kids find it easier to get through difficult conditions than adults. They're lower to the ground, lower centre of gravity. They can slip into areas where adults can't get. If they know those woods and they know the trails around those woods, they could easily have got a lot further than everybody has anticipated. They could be out of that search area. That search radius is only a mile, a little bit more than a mile over to the west, like to cover the gas pipe area where there were footprints found on the second day of the search. Children's boot prints, to be precise. Now, there was no scent. This is a big issue for me, that there's no scent other than on the driveway. That's an issue for me, because the dogs were out just a matter of hours later. So there should have been scent. I don't know why those dogs didn't pick up any scent that we know about, at least. That concerns me. That really, really concerns me. Those are live scent trackers. We don't know if cadaver dogs have been used. They hadn't been at the May the 7th press conference, but we don't know whether they've had cadaver dogs out since. We know they've searched the property, even searching under the trailer. But they were gone. We know from the dispatch audio they were gone for 2 hours before that 911 call went in.
Otherwise, what are the details? Have they been gone a long time? 0800.
And if they'd gone for 2 hours, they could have walked a lot further. I keep saying this. They say 20 minutes. We're only missing 20 minutes, but no. Listen to the dispatch audio. And look, all credit to these people who were out there getting bitten by ticks and flies. Really arduous, grueling conditions. So all credit to them. But Lilly and Jack could easily be in those woods. However, as I said, the lack of scent concerns me. The fact that Lilly and Jack weren't in school Thursday and Friday. The fact that we don't know if anybody outside of the family had seen them since they got off the school bus on Tuesday afternoon. We know that the school was out on Wednesday, So we don't know whether anybody outside of the family had seen them since Tuesday. That's a big problem. And the inconsistent statements, you could give the parents the grace and say, well, they're under a high stress situation. They're not really remembering things that clearly, and okay, I'll give them that. But there's a big difference between 20 minutes and 2 hours. It's absolutely not a mistake, as that criminologist said, by focusing the search in the early stages on the woods. Kids wander off. Kids wander off every day, and usually they're found very quickly. So many kids wander off. So I don't think that was wrong, but were they ever there? That's an open question. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.